Good morning, agents, or afternoon, evening. It's morning here as I'm recording this. But today's video, we're going to go over the different types of leads in the final expense market. I am Matt McCray, agent and success coach here at fexsuccess.com. Thanks for joining us today. So basically, we're going to go over and talk about the different types of leads that are available to agents who are in the final expense market, or if you're not an agent in that market yet and you're just looking at the opportunity and want to become an agent in this market. So there's 6 basic types. We'll just go through them one at a time. The first one, definitely my favorite, typically the best type of lead that's out there is going to be a direct mail. Now, what is a direct mail lead? It's a card or a letter that gets mailed out by a mail house to people in your community or in your local area where you want to sell insurance. And the idea of the letter is to explain to the person that they're eligible for a life insurance plan, or they're eligible for additional benefit, or they're eligible for a final expense program, and talks a little bit about what it is, and it asks them if they're interested in receiving some more information. They have to fill out the card and then drop it in the mail. And it comes back to the mail house, who then sends that over to you, and you have a direct mail lead. So one of the good things, and one of the reasons that I really like these direct mail leads, is because the person that you're doing the mailing to, they have to take some action to request it. It's not like some of the other type of leads that we have where there's no action taken on their part. But so let's just put yourself into the mindset of the customer who receives the letter in the mail. They go out to the mailbox, they bring the mail in, they put the mail on the counter or whatever, and eventually they get around to reading the mail. So they start opening it. A lot of stuff they're just tossing. They get to the letter that talks about an additional benefit for a life insurance program, and they decide to open this letter and read it. And they sit there and they think, toss or hold on to? Toss or hold on to? Well, the ones that you got back are the ones that the person decided to hold on to. So that's great. That's step 1. So now they hold on to that letter, whether they fill it out right then immediately and take it back out to the mailbox the next day so the mailman picks it back up, or if they just leave it on the counter to think about it. So let's say they leave it on the counter and they think about it. They're going to discuss that with their spouse when their spouse comes home, or they're sitting there at dinner having dinner and they discuss it, or whatever. So they're going to discuss it. They're going to say, yes, this seems to be a good idea. Let's find out if we're eligible first. We don't have any life insurance. Let's find out if we're eligible to get some. Let's see what this is all about. So they take the time to fill that card out. They put their name, their age, their phone number, all that information, and they walk back out to the mailbox and they put it in the mailbox. So this person that's filling this card out is, hey, they're putting some thought into it. It's not us talking them into it, via a telemarketing lead. We're not putting any pressure on them. They're making the decision. We put the information in front of them, and they've decided to take action. I love those leads. They're the best. So that's one thing that's one type of lead that I definitely recommend you start getting if you're in this market. If you're not already getting them, start getting them as soon as possible. The next type of lead is the telemarketed lead. Now this is more of an interruption-based marketing practice. Put yourself into the eyes of the person where you're the customer. And what we're doing here, they could be in the middle of watching a television show, or they could be at the dinner table having dinner or lunch, or in a heated conversation, or in a good conversation, or whatever it is. They're in their world, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, ring, 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 their phone's ringing off the hook, and they happen to answer it, and at the other end is a telemarketer. Hi, this is so-and-so from such and such place, and we have a new burial insurance policy. Are you interested? That's not exactly what's said, but basically that's the ideology of it. So this person is taking a 2 or 3 minute conversation right now. They're not putting any time in thinking about it. They're just talking to the telemarketer and either saying, yes, I'm interested, or no. Now, the ones that you get, they had said yes at some point. They may have said no, and then the telemarketer came back with a rebuttal, and now they're saying yes, it's okay to talk to somebody. So this type of lead is interruptive marketing. Do they work? Absolutely. We sell a lot of insurance based off of telemarketing leads. It's one of our primary leads that we start agents off. That's a good thing about one of the good things about the telemarketing leads is they're cheaper. They are very we can turn them around very quickly. A telemarketing company, you place an order for 20 or 25 leads or however many you're purchasing, and typically within a couple of days you start getting your leads and your lead orders finished up within a week. Where on the previous type, the direct mail, it's typically going to take about 3 weeks before you start receiving your leads. So telemarketing leads, they're cheaper and they're quicker turnaround time. And they do work. Do they work as good as the direct mail? No, absolutely not. But they're a great way for you to start getting leads and getting into the selling and seeing people as soon as possible. So, and when it comes to telemarketed leads, there's typically 3 types. There's the cold calling type, where it's like I described, a telemarketer is talking to the person. The next type is illegal. Don't use them. Voice broadcast or press 1 or voicemail leads. They're called many different things. But the bottom line is they're illegal. They have been since 2009, September 1st. And the reason that they're illegal is because everybody was doing voicemail or voice broadcast leads because it was so effective. They worked so good and they were so cheap. There's these phone companies that you can take a pre-recorded message, 30 seconds or 20 seconds about burial insurance. You can send that call out to 10,000 or 15,000 people at one time. So imagine all of these people all across the nation are getting voice broadcast calls about credit cards, about cruises, about insurance, about you name it, security systems. They were getting them like crazy. So people started complaining. And the FTC decided to to outlaw that type of marketing, and it's no longer allowed. Now, yes, there's still some companies that are still doing it. There's still some agents that are still using them. Stay away from them. Anybody who tells you they're legal, they're lying to you. Don't believe them. You can be sued. The insurance company that you represent can be sued. I've seen it happen in both cases. You can lose your license for illegal marketing practices. So stay away from voice broadcast leads. Now, the third type of telemarketing is going to be an avatar lead. And this is kind of somewhere in the middle of those two. At this time, those are still legal. But basically what an avatar lead is we've taken the pre-recorded messages and cut them up into small bite-sized pieces. And we have a live telemarketer who is operating which buttons to push and which sound bites to play the message for. So you can have a conversation with the person when the telemarketer is not really talking. They're just using sound recordings. So you'd say, why wouldn't the telemarketer just talk? Well, with this type of lead and this type of system, you can hire people in the Philippines or in India who have a bad accent, don't speak very good English, know enough to talk English and speak it so they can have the conversation, but they're not talking the words. So you're getting a perfectly clearly speaking English person on the recordings, but a Filipino or an Indian or somebody who is pressing the buttons to make those sounds play through the phone so the person on the other end is having a conversation. Those little buttons, the first one, as soon as somebody answers the phone, they're going to pick up the phone and say hello. And then the avatar will push the button that says, hello, hi, how are you today? They'll wait for a response, and based on the response, the avatar will go into the final expense presentation. They've got about 50 different buttons that they can press. They can come back with rebuttals, ton of things. So that's what an avatar lead is basically. It's a telemarketed lead that uses somebody in a foreign country but uses an English-sounding person speaking on the phone because they're using those recordings. We can get those for cheaper than we can get a telemarketing lead for, because you can pay people in the Philippines less than you can pay somebody here in the States or a good-sounding telemarketer. So those are the three different types of telemarketing: cold call with a live telemarketer, voice broadcast, and avatar. And that's telemarketed leads. Telemarketed leads work pretty good, but don't make it your only source of leads. And we did another video not long ago that goes through why telemarketing leads won't last long term. So if you haven't seen that one yet, I suggest you watch that one as well. Internet leads is the next. That's number 3 of the different lead types. Remember, there was 6 lead types. So far, we've done direct mail, we've done telemarketing, and the next one is going to be internet-based leads. Now, what's an internet-based lead? Well, that's just what it sounds like. Somebody is on the internet. They've clicked on some sort of advertisement that takes them over to a little form that they can fill out. Maybe there's a video on that page or some information about burial insurance. To get your free quote, fill out this form. So they fill out the form requesting some additional information, and as soon as they hit the submit button, that goes through the lead distribution, the lead company's computer system, and it sends it out to whoever has signed up to purchase leads in that zip code where that person lives. So that could be 5 agents that's going to get that lead all at the same time. It could be 2. It could be 10. But typically there's no cap on that. The lead companies is going to tell you that there is, but you're going to notice that if you're not the first one that picks up the phone and calls that person, by the time you do call them, they've already been talked to. They already have it in place, or they're so upset that they're getting so many calls. So internet leads, they're typically cheap because they're sold to many different agents at the same time. They're sold again later down the road as an aged internet lead. That's typically the time to buy them, 30 days down the road when nobody else is calling them, because now you can call them and they cooled off, not so upset that they received so many calls before, and maybe they're ready to buy it then. Okay, so that's internet leads. The next type is a television lead, and a television lead is going to come into 2 different types of leads as well. One type of television lead is going to be the type where somebody is watching somebody's watching television and an ad comes on, a commercial comes on, and it talks about burial insurance. And that's what the commercial is specifically about. I just watched one the other night from Angel Care Insurance Services or something, but it was a 1-minute commercial, and it talked specifically about burial insurance, and the entire time has a toll-free number that you can call and get additional information. You probably can apply for the coverage right over the phone, but that's another type. That's one type, is the commercial specifically about burial insurance. Now, the other type of television lead is the type that's maybe it's a commercial about receiving free prescription drugs or assistance for your high prescription drug costs. So on this type of television lead, what they're doing is they're trying to get people to entice them to call into a number, because once they call into that number, before they get the information on the free prescription drug program, they're going to ask them. It's an IVR system, so it's an automated system that they can't just say, what's the information on the prescriptions? They go through this big, long questionnaire, and they're asking 10, 12, 15 questions about different product types. They're asking, are you on Medicare? Are you diabetic? Do you need diabetic testing supplies? Would you be interested in a home alarm system? Would you be interested in getting a quote for burial insurance? Would you be interested in getting like 10 different things? So before, they're calling about prescriptions and help with that, but they're being talked into turning that into a lead for, up to 10 different things, up to 12 different things. And if the person is interested in burial insurance, then they're going to sell that to a final expense agent. If they're interested also in Medicare, then they're going to also sell that lead to a Medicare agent. If they're interested in diabetic testing supplies, they're going to sell that to a company that provides diabetic testing supplies. If they're interested in the emergency medical system, help, I fall and I can't get up, that thing that they wear around their neck, they're going to sell that lead to this person. So that's the second type of television lead. Another thing about television leads is it's hard to narrow the market down into your local vicinity. So if you're working with a group of agents, that might work because you can go into a broader area, maybe a state or a tri-county state or something like that. Okay, so that's television leads. That's number 4. Number 5 is going to be miscellaneous leads. And miscellaneous leads, that's going to be things like maybe you're doing some newspaper ads, maybe you're doing some seminars, maybe you're doing some social media advertising, and you're trying to generate some of your own leads, which every agent needs to do. All of those will work if done, but they have to be done consistently and over time. You can't, that's not something you can just turn on and you start getting leads right away. Like a newspaper ad. If you all the experts that do stuff with newspapers, they say it's about repetition. So if your newspaper ad is in there repeatedly and somebody's used to seeing that over a 6-month period of time, you might start getting some traction off of that. So a lot of the miscellaneous stuff you have to continue to work at and do. But they're all great ideas. If you have the time to do some of that additional marketing on your own, I highly suggest it. So the last type of leads, type number 6 is going to be a referral lead. Now this is the type of lead that, it probably is second favorite, except for, when somebody's calling you and saying that they were referred to you by so-and-so, that's typically going to be a sale. I love getting those. Now, the other type of referral lead is you're asking for referrals. Those are typically good as well too. But the ones that are actually calling you, those work great. So make sure, and we're having another video that specifically shows you how to get referrals. So make sure that these are all utilizing all different types of lead sources. You need to have 1 or 2 main, and my personal recommendation would be start with telemarketing. And at the same time you're starting with telemarketing, get your direct mail leads going if you can afford to. If you can't afford to, just keep getting telemarketing leads, putting money back, getting something set up so you can eventually get onto a direct mail campaign. So start heavy with telemarketed, move into direct mail as soon as you can. As soon as you've moved in direct mail, start using the cut back on your telemarketing leads, because maybe your direct mail's coming in now. You're getting 15 of those. Well, you should still get 10 a week of telemarketing. You keep those leads coming. Stay away from the internet leads for the most part. TV leads, it could work depending on your individual situation. Miscellaneous, always be doing some other miscellaneous stuff, whether it's seminars or social media advertising, if you have the time for that stuff. If you're too busy because you got enough other leads coming in, just work those leads. And then the last one is always make sure that you're asking for referrals. So this is our video on different lead types for agents in the final expense market. If you liked the video, make sure you do a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that as well. If you're subscribed to our channel, you're going to get a notice each time that we upload a new video, which is twice a week typically. We do a question of the week and a training of the week. We want to send you notices each time that we do that. And in order to do that, you've got to subscribe. So subscribe to our channel, and we are fexsuccess.com. Thanks, and have a great day.